Alrighty folks, welcome back to Murdock's Place. I'm going to do a little quick tutorial on core mining here. I know we've got a few players in our group that haven't done it before or haven't done it in a long time, so we're going to cover the basics here. I'll be using a Cobra Mark III, just because it's cheap and easy. You can also do this with your Type 11s if you've bought them. In fact, you can outfit a Type 11 to do pretty much everything all at once. It does not really matter what ship you use, as long as it has, at minimum, one Class 2 hardpoint. Which brings us to the minimum requirements here. You need a seismic charge launcher, turreted or fixed, entirely up to you. I have a feeling, if you've got some people to play with, that probably turreted weapons could make for a great deal of fun. Same goes for the abrasion blaster, but those are the only two hardpoints you need. Moving down to utility mounts, you need a pulse wave analyzer. I'm running a 0C. You could run up to an A. Bear in mind that as you go up in letters towards A, you get much better performance, but they are very power hungry. Core internals, you can leave however you like. I've upgraded a few of these things here to A rated because I had to travel around, but you could just as easily leave it stock. As far as optionals go, you're going to need cargo space, as much of it as you care to fill up, collector limpets of some flavor or another. You won't need many. I would say more than 5 active limpets at a time is overkill, and honestly, for what I'm doing here, 2 will do me just fine. As you can see, these are 1Cs, so they're only giving me 1 limpet a piece. You're going to need prospectors. I don't ever recommend buying anything but 1A prospectors, or A-rated prospectors, I should say. I usually go at least a 3A for laser mining. For core mining, the 1A will be just fine. Same with the refinery. We're only gathering 1 material, so the bin count of 4 will be quite sufficient. And then you'll need a detailed surface scanner to find your mining location. Now, I believe I have some limpets on board, but don't forget your limpets. Yep, I have 15, so we will go with that. And we're going to take a ride up the elevator. Now, we are mining today in the HIP 867 system. That's where our squad's been doing a bunch of mining. And these rings right here around Body 2 are pretty rich, at least the A ring, which is going to be the one closer to the planet. If you take a look in your map here, you'll see sort of the information there. I haven't mapped the planet, but I've mapped the rings. And if you look at the 2A ring, it's metallic, and the 2B ring is metal rich. That is important. If you are seeing hotspots in a metal rich ring, and you may, for example, see platinum there, it's not going to be laser mineable platinum. It's only going to be core mineable platinum, which is really not the efficient way to mine platinum. You want to be in a metallic ring for that. For mostly core mined materials, anywhere you find them is going to be fine. You do want to make sure you've got pristine level reserves though. And we do here, so we're all set. We're going to head off in search of the wild blue yonder. So let's pop over here. I've already been in here. I've already scanned the system, so I've got the hot spots populated in my nav panel. If you're first visiting a system, that won't be the case for you. You will need to use your detailed surface scanner and scan the rings. Since I've already knocked that out, we can just go ahead and head on our merry way. And we should... oh, landing gear helps. Pro tip, when you're trying to get out of the mass lock zone, having your landing gear in the up position is helpful. There we go. Now, I've stripped this down, so I don't have anything fancy like docking computers or Super Cruise Assist or anything else. But that's fine. Generally, when you're mining, you're not going to be using those things except in the transitional period when you're going to and from the mining location, so it's not a huge deal. Now once again, I've already scanned it, so they are showing up for me already. If you haven't been to a planet and you're looking to do some mining, you're going to need to hit it with your detailed surface scanner, which you can see I've got mapped over there to my secondary fire group. And if I slow on back here, it should let me go in. And just like when you're scanning the planet, which is going to be your center point, as you come down, you'll see you get the ring indicator. That's what you're looking for. So, fire one off. I don't think there's anything in that ring.
Surface scan complete.
Yeah, it didn't turn anything new up. That's just fine. There's 2 rings on this planet. That's the B ring I just scanned. And you can certainly drop in there and poke around and mine and prospect. It's just not a hot spot. And then you'll see the A ring up here is a slightly different graphical depiction, and it's got all of our hot spots identified. So we are going to head over here to the monazite, because that is what the local carrier over here is buying, and that will make us a tidy profit. You're going to want to come in fairly gentle. You can slam into it hard if you want. I'm not running any shields on this build, so that would immediately cause hull damage I don't want to mess with. And you're going to want to look for the brighter, thicker rings. I see that line right there. I like that one. Let's drop right in here. Alright, now we're in the asteroid field. Next thing to do is going to be, as always, to wait for the pirate to scan us. If you've never gone mining at all, generally when you drop into a hotspot in a populated system, some pirate is going to come along and scan you as soon as you drop in. Now, as long as you don't have anything in your cargo hold, or the only thing in it is limpets, you will have 0 issues. So those of us that are somewhat experienced, we just drop in and wait and let them do their thing.
Scan detected.
Speak of the devil. Who is it? James. Yeah, I'm not sure. This somewhat French last name, I think. I have nothing for you, James. You need to move on. Let's look at our fire groups. The first one is a pretty standard setup for me. It's my discovery scanner and my detailed surface scanner. And then I moved through the workflow so that I can just kind of cycle. So the next thing I'll be doing is using the pulse wave analyzer to identify potential cores, and the prospector limpets to confirm if it's a core or not. And then we'll need our seismic charges and our collector limpets and our abrasion blaster. Now you'll notice I have on the same fire key my blaster and my collector limpets. That is so that as they die off, it just gets replaced. It's a common tactic a lot of miners use. I use it for laser mining, certainly, but I definitely do for core mining, so I've went ahead and carried that over. Now that we've been scanned, I'm going to go ahead and deploy hardpoints and pull out that pulse wave analyzer. Let's go see if we can find us a core. And this is real easy. You're just going to fire it off and then look for the odd-colored asteroids. There's one right in front of us, and it'll stick around like that for a minute. And then it'll go, oh, I couldn't get that lucky again if I tried. So you'll notice that we have some different levels of glowy radioactive rocks here. The one on the top left there is kind of dull on the end. The one on the top right is pretty symmetrically colored. And then the one on the lower right is really bright. It's also a very specific shape. And that is the core shape for a metallic ring. It's like an arrowhead kind of shape. It's kind of vague, but it's arrow-esque. The one in the icy ring kind of looks like popcorn, and honestly, I've never been very good at finding rocky cores. But I'll bet 8 to 1 this is going to be a core asteroid. So I'm going to go ahead and fire off a prospector and get the lay of the land here. Go ahead and target it. And sure enough, if you look in the bottom left-hand info panel, you'll see at the bottom of the readout, it says in bright blue, core detected, monazite, which is what I want. Now we've got a couple of HUD labels here. We've got the, what I call the eyeball with the line over it. that is going to be a subsurface deposit. It's painite, so I'm not interested. That also has a reverse with the line below it, which signifies a surface deposit. But the ones we're after are these ones right here that look like the Tesla logo. Those are fissures, and they come in 3 flavors: low strength, average, and high. Now, your seismic charge launcher that you brought along also comes in low, medium, high, and if you look at my targeting reticle there, you'll see on the left-hand side there I've got 3 bars. The longer I hold down the fire button, the more it will charge up that charge. And that is full yield right there. And then when you release, that is the charge level you get. So you kind of want to manipulate it so that you get your explosive charge total in the rock to a certain spot. So we'll start with this average strength here. I'm going to go ahead and give it the full Monty, full level charge. And then you'll see up in the top right there, now we have a timer and we have a yield predictor, if you will. Right now we're showing in the orange. I know for a fact those are not the default colors. I can't remember what they are. But we're shooting to get everything in the blue, but nothing above it. Because that would mean we oversaturated the rock and we destroyed some of the goodies we're after. So we're just going to keep going around. That's a high strength. Now, if I were right up against the blue, I might put a low strength charge in that just to get me there. But since we got a ways to go, it's just going to get a full charge. And you see we're still in the orange there, so we need to place some more charges. Got 77 seconds left on the clock there. This is a low strength, and if I hit it with a full charge, I can almost guarantee it'll be over, but we're going to try it. It'll either be over or dead on, one of the two. Or neither. I have been wrong before. We're real close now, though. Whatever we do next, we got to be careful with it. So that's a high strength. That's going to be pretty easy. In fact, I'm going to put like a 1 1/4 in there, I think. And there we got it. Nice pretty blue line all the way across, nothing above, and you'll see it says in the text, optimum yield range. That is exactly what you want. Now, 30 seconds left on the clock. I'm going to get some distance out here, because when these things blow up, they tend to mess with your ship, and I don't have any shields. But if you had placed a charge and were in a, out of range, don't panic. Come over to your contacts panel. You'll see the one that's still selected there. I get the option to disarm that charge and place another one to fix my mistake. Obviously, I didn't have time to do that this time, but if it's like your first or second charge, don't move on and leave the rock. Oh, that's glorious. That is hands down the best sound in this game. It may be the best sound in any video game. But as I was saying, if you screw up like your first or second charge, don't walk away from the rock. Just go disarm it, place another charge, stay calm, you'll be fine. And if you do goof up a rock every now and then, it's not the end of the world. I've been known to do it more often than I care to admit. So now we've broken this rock open, and you can see here's our the eyeball with the line below, for lack of a better term. And those are going to be surface deposits of the material we're after. And we're just going to shoot those with the abrasion blaster to break them off the rock here. And as we do that, we're programming collector limpets. They're going to run out there, grab it, and throw it in the cargo hold, as long as the cargo scoop has been lowered. And if you forgot to do that, it's okay. Your co-boss will yell at you and say that there's a limpet drone error and you need to deploy the cargo scoop. So, accidentally swapped fire groups. Yeah, we'll have to come back and get that one. I should use my night vision here. Now you do want to be careful maneuvering around inside the pieces here. Sometimes they get a little more space in them, and sometimes they stay pretty packed together. This one seems to have split apart fairly well and given us a little bit of room to work here. But that is not always the case. Sometimes you have to wait a minute for that to happen. And then we're going to sneak right on up here. And grab that one. And if you think you're done, you always want to check your contact panel. So these ones down here, these are free floating. Those are the ones our limpets are collecting. These ones here are still surface deposits. So there's 4 of them out there still I gotta find. Well, there's 2 on that one, but they're on the other side. So I'm just gonna orbit my way down there. Oh, and conveniently that showed me where one of the other ones are. And you don't have to target these. You can if you want to, but you're just lining up, popping them, and they pop right off. Sometimes you gotta get a good face-on view to them, because there'll be another piece of that asteroid chunk standing between you and your money. And nobody wants that.
Hull integrity compromised.
I bumped into something there. Here's that last one. Now I think I'm done. Let's take a look. Yep, they're all free floating. So always, before you leave a rock, double check. I mean, right now, according to an R, a monazite is selling for just under 900,000 credits per ton. That's a pretty good price. That's just shy of 1 million credits, and you don't want to leave that attached to a rock just because you forgot to look. But, you know, that's core mining right there. It's nice and easy, nothing to it. Get out there, get you a ship put together, and go have some fun. We'll catch you next time, folks. Thanks for hanging.